Okay, welcome back to the channel and another video on the barn. So in the last video I showed you the new laser that we got so that we could grade this floor and get it level, and it showed up that this floor is massively out. It's a foot higher that corner than it is that corner. It's up in that corner, obviously the dirt that we had in the entrance. Now I've already done a day's work on this barn that we didn't record, unfortunately. I thought it was recording, but we missed a whole day's time lapse basically of doing bits and pieces, which I was hoping to include in the video, but we've lost it. So I'll show you what we got done and show you what we need to do. Okay, so it's pretty windy out here today, so apologise for that. So this pile of dirt that was in the entrance, I've got the Range Rover out of here now, but there was a pile of dirt in the entrance. Half of this we've actually put through this modified cement mixer. Now I actually did this years ago to do the garden that we had in the last house, and it's an old cement mixer that was cheap on eBay or the local ads, and basically I cut the sides out of it and welded 2 bits of mesh in it, and I've used that as a soil screen. So in the last house I wanted to do the lawn nice, so I wanted nice soil, so I put it all through there, took out all the rocks. Ironically, in this one we need the rocks and not the soil, so it's working the same way, but it's just a slow process of doing it. But what we've done so far is graded out here and pulled all these rocks out of the soil that was here in this corner where the diggers sat. So there was a big mound here and we put all that through there. We've taken out a couple of tons of soil and spread that into the dips in the field, so that's all good, but it's just soil. So the next bit of the video will be to dig out this side of the garage. So like I said, that far corner, that needs to come down by a foot. This one needs to come down by not far off the same amount, but it's a lot less on this corner. So we'll get the digger going and we'll make a start on just trying to get this leveled up. The first thing we needed to do to get this done was to lower this roll bar, just because it's actually too tall to get underneath the framework here. So I've just taken that one pin out, lowered it down and put it back in just out of the way. That means we can get into the corner and not have any height restrictions. So I'll put it on a quick time lapse and we'll get digging.
Down the street with your red lips and funky beat, you better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around, can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
So that initial time lapse was about 2 weeks ago now, helped by my daughter Paige. Thank you very much for that. But after she went home, I carried on digging, and obviously you can see just how much we've dug out of this entrance. So that orange mark over there on the wall, that's roughly where we want the floor to be, and like I said in previous videos, that is not critical, but that's roughly where we want to end up. Now the reason for that is that steel is 3 meters tall. I'm sure you can see it up there. And that would allow enough room for the van to get in here. This entrance still needs to be raised up, but that's not really a big issue. But if we end up with the floor there, or give or take, then that steel takes us up to 3 meters, which is just big enough to get the van in. So obviously we've dug a lot out of this entrance, and it is a lot lower, but this is where most of the traffic is going to be, and that transition from the driveway to the garage is where most of the pressure will be. So if it's going to move, it'll move here. So this is where you need most of the hardcore. Now obviously we've dug an awful lot of dirt out of here. You can see the pile in the previous clip, just how big it was. And we put a lot of it through that little mixer. And this is the pile of stone that we ended up with, all from that. Now, I really don't think it's worth doing. It saves money, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's, you know, at least I would say about 5 or 6 tons of hardcore here. That's going to save, I mean, it's going to be about £30 a ton, something like that, or £30 a bag, whatever you want to call it, for this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a couple £100 saving, but it was a couple of weeks work, and realistically, you have to weigh up your time. If time's not really an issue, but money is, then yes, it's definitely worth doing. But all that now can go in here, and then we can just grade it with some finer stuff just to get the grade exactly right. So moving on to the other corner. So in this corner we got a bit lucky. There was hardcore underneath the earth. When we started scraping it away with the digger, it was actually stone and basically type 1 underneath it, which is quite handy. So we put a bit of this loose stuff on top just to help level it out a little bit. But we don't need to do too much to that other than get it to the right level. But you can see then as you pull back where it changes from the stone to the dirt. So this is what we've already dug out. And if I show you on the back wall here, you can see basically the dirt line where it was. That orange line is where the floor was. And we've actually taken it down just over a foot there. But that has presented us with another issue, and that's this concrete that sticks out from the wall here. Now it does actually go all the way along, although for some reason it sticks out more this end than that end. But this piece of concrete here is the foundations for this wall. Now these foundations aren't very thick. They were only just in the floor. I mean, that's the floor level. You can see that it didn't even cover a block. And I know it's not a house, it's only a shed, but it's a big shed, and it's got thick walls. I'm surprised the foundations are so small. So what we're going to have to do here is dig all the way along this wall, right into this corner, and underpin this foundation for this wall. What I'm probably going to do is, I mean, this piece here is very shallow. This is a lot wider. But what I'll probably do is cut along this piece to make it narrower. And then when I underpin it, I'll tie into this piece as well. And we'll make it a lot stronger. But it'll go down a lot deeper, and it'll probably come up halfway into this bottom block, so that it'll just hold everything in place. It shouldn't really affect the garage too much, because you're not going to park the car up against the wall anyway. You need room to open the door, and the door should still be high enough to clear that bottom block. So I don't think it's going to affect too much, but it's obviously a lot more work. The other issue then is this dip here. Now I'm not exactly sure what this is. I need to dig this out and have a look, but it's very soft in that one particular spot for whatever reason. Now obviously I'm hoping it's not a mine shaft or a sinkhole or anything silly like that, otherwise that's going to be a real problem. But I need to dig that out and have a look at it, because it is very soft in that area. But all this has to be dug out anyway, and that's probably what we get done next. So I put this light up here just temporarily, just so that we can see in here, but it is very dark in this corner. So the next thing then, we'll dig all this out, and see where we're at. We'll get some concrete mixed up, get it shutted and get it all in there just to reinforce that wall, just so it doesn't go anywhere. And the other thing is, on the other side of this wall is that great big load of hardcore that's basically piled up against this wall, so I really don't want it to move. So we'll get that done next. So if you're wondering why this video has taken so long to make, it has literally been the wettest beginning of the year on record apparently. And even on the days that it hasn't rained, it hasn't been dry enough for long enough for it to dry out, which has made doing the groundwork extremely difficult. And this is the sort of thing that we're having to deal with. It's literally flooding all the time and keeps filling up with mud. I've cleaned this about 2 or 3 times. I've dug down there just to help drain this one away, because this is the one I'm working on at the moment. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us. And if you are enjoying these videos, please do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and it's helping us move forward. So back over to the digging, and this is mostly ready now. So in this corner, that goes all the way underneath the wall. I've got like a yardstick basically that I can measure with and make sure that it's completely underneath that wall. So when we dig out the other side, we'll be able to meet up that concrete and sort all this out. So basically what I've done is roughly a meter, miss a meter, do another meter. This bit hasn't worked out because of an issue with the wall, and then I've done a piece on the end there. So we're going to fill this with concrete, and then when I do the outside, when I do the driveway, I can dig all this out again the other side. It'll be a lot more secure, and I'll be able to concrete the other side then. So this middle bit isn't as deep, but it's very hard stone in there, so it's fairly well compacted. I'm not too worried about that bit. That end piece obviously I've dug out. You can actually see the steel there for the doorway, so that's good, and it goes again all the way underneath that wall. So we had a bit of good luck with this soft spot that I was really worried about. I thought it might be a mine shaft or a sinkhole, but actually it was an old rotten fence post by the looks of it. Something that was probably here before the garage was even here. And it's actually stone underneath it in the bottom. So when we dug it all out, it was just rotten wood. So that could have been a lot worse, and yeah, I was quite relieved to find that. So the next job now will be to basically concrete this in. Now I wanted to try and do this in one pour, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. But what I'm going to try and do is do it in 2 pours over 2 days, so the bottom doesn't get enough time to cure. But what I'm going to do first of all is lay the concrete up to floor level with the rebar in it, and then tie it into the wall. So I'll show you what I mean when I do the forms for the concrete. So that'll be the next bit. Okay, so finally some nice weather, but it has been horrendous. Obviously we had storm, whatever it was, come through. We had another load of rain. Everything is soaking wet. The ground is really soft and wet. And really struggling to get out here and do anything. Between work, the weather, and a bout of illness, I'm still quite short of breath, so apologise for that as well. But I have managed to do some bits and pieces out here, and I'll show you what I've done, but it's been slow progress. So the first thing I did was put some rebar in, and basically what I've done is drill into the blocks every other one. So the center of the blocks are solid, but the middle of the blocks are hollow, but there's like a central pillar in it. So I drilled into there and I epoxied each one. I don't know if you can see the epoxy just coming out there. So basically glued the steels in every other block, and they're like a Z shape. And then I drilled it into the concrete this end and down the other end, and then put the rebar in and tied it in. So that should tie all this together and make it extremely strong. Then I needed to decide what I wanted to do with the forms for the concrete. So if I show you down here, it's a bit dark, but this here is going to be the level for the hardcore. And then you've got about 25 mil of sand. So this piece here, you're not going to see, or well, under here, you're not going to see it. And then the concrete wall will come up to here. So it'll be like a short wall, but it'll be like an L shape, almost like a set of steps. But I formed it all in one. I'm going to drill a couple of holes in here just to let any air out when I pour the concrete in. But that should then be able to just finish that all off. I need to decide exactly what I'm going to do this end. Obviously I need to concrete this piece in as well, where it's all, well, there just isn't anything underneath the wall there. So I need to get that finished, and then I can start the concrete in. So I'll bring it back when all the forms are finished. So it was supposed to be a dry day today, but it's been raining again most of the day, unfortunately, but not too heavy. But I have managed to get this all mixed and put in. I did mix this by hand, and I really can't tell you how pleased I am to get this finished, because it's one of the jobs I was really dreading. Ideally, I could have got a concrete lorry in here, but getting it around here, and then because this would have had to be filled in by hand, the concrete lorry doesn't like waiting around. So this has taken pretty much all day to get this bit done, but I'm glad it's all done now. So the next job now is probably tomorrow afternoon. I'll get these forms taken off, and then I can start grading this floor for a final grade so we can get the flooring in. So once again, if you have been enjoying these videos, and I do apologize for how long this has taken to do, hopefully the next one won't be anywhere near as long. But if you have been enjoying them, and if you can, like and subscribe, it really does help the channel out. And I will see you again shortly on the next one. Thanks for watching.